agenda at this time, I'd like to invite comments from members of the public regarding topics of interest or concern that are within this board's authority. However, there are certain matters that would be more appropriately discussed during the public comment period this afternoon during public hearing. I do remind everyone present, please remember to silence your cell phones, etc. And at this time, we will begin with public comment. Mr. Boyce, do we have any members of the public present who wish to be heard at this time?
Yes, sir. We have 10 public comments that are pre-registered this morning. We'll start with Miss May Beck. Miss Beck, if you'll approach the podium. If you approach the podium, state your name and address for the record, and you have 2 minutes, ma'am. Thank you.
Hello, my name is May Beck. I live at 1407 Edmundshire Lane, and I'm here representing Orlando Tenant Power. The notion that is there a housing emergency is still an open discussion among our elected officials is absurd. Renting in Orlando has been unlivable since the start of 2020, and the crisis has only deepened since. Predatory landlords and property management companies have openly used the pandemic as an opportunity to spike rent prices, set new market rates, cynically consolidate capital and power, and practice near criminal levels of negligence. The working Black and brown renters of this county have had their lives and communities torn apart. At best, we have been forced into the impossible choice between our safety, livelihoods, and the county we thought was our home. And at worst, we have been forced into poverty, precarity, and homelessness. All the while, the people who have been sworn in to represent these people have rejected almost any and all necessary action out of a fear of being too hasty. Instead of addressing the emergency as what it is, our government has listened to the empty words of parasitic landlords and their promises that the pressing crisis is simply business as usual. It is hard to imagine that the families and children who have had their lives destroyed will take much comfort in knowing that the free market has been working as intended. At present, we, representing the organized tenants of Orlando, demand that the Orange County Board of Commissioners declare a housing state of emergency to allow residents to vote on rent stabilization without any further deliberation. Thank you.
All right, thank you for your comments. We'll move to the next speaker, please.
Our next speaker is Ms. Nicholas Beck, followed by Andrea Skulkin and Connie O'Hanlon. And if the rest of you will line up on that back wall, we will cue you accordingly. If you'll state your name and address for the record, and you have 2 minutes, sir. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Nicholas Beck. I live at 1407 Edmundshire Lane, and I'm here to represent Orlando Tenant Power. 63% of households in Orlando are renters. As of June 2022, the median rent for Orlando is $2,215. This time last year, that number was $1,650. In the last calendar year, rent has increased on average by $565, or roughly by 25%. Within the same 12-month period, minimum wage has increased from $10 an hour to $11 an hour, or an increase of about 10%. Though this pairing of statistics may not paint the entire picture, it does illustrate one very simple notion. This wage to rent gap should be expected to increase each and every year, especially as the annual $1 increase to minimum wage dwindles proportionally and the annual increase in rent continues to stack and compound at unprecedented rates, disproportionately affecting those in lower income brackets. Other counties may be able to get away with a business as usual approach for rental markets, but Orlando is not like the other counties. According to National Low Income Housing Coalition, Orlando already ranks second worst in the country when it comes to the affordable housing shortage. We will not be able to evade the impacts and consequences of rent hikes on our community with a laissez-faire approach. I cannot reiterate this point enough. This problem will not correct itself in the slightest. In fact, it will worsen year after year. That is, of course, unless the elected officials are willing to do something about it. The effects that a worsened shortage of affordable housing will have on the people, families, and members of the community will be devastating to many and will cause numerous shockwaves and ripples throughout other parts of the economy. Thank you.
All right, thank you for your comments. We'll move to the next speaker, please.